The specter of tariffs increasingly becoming part of the earnings conversation. Of the S&P 500 companies that have reported Q4 results so far, more than 60 have said they are closely monitoring the situation. Many have been non-committal about the impact. Tesla, General Motors, Mondelez, Cardinal Health, and others saying it's too early to quantify the effect on their businesses. But Chipotle did say that tariffs on Mexico and Canada would have an ongoing impact of about 60 basis points on its cost of sales. And as we discussed yesterday, Ford CEO Jim Farley said tariffs would blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry, and that so far he's seeing a lot of cost and chaos. So how can we expect these latest levies to shake out? We do have a 1-month reprieve, Tim, but companies are doing their backup plans right now and trying to forecast.
I think we're waiting and seeing. I mean, companies also need to get out there, and just like the Federal Reserve, they're going to say, well, we are concerned about this, but until they happen, we don't really know. And that's really been the strategy. I mean, applaud the White House for using the ability to use tariffs as a stick, whether there's follow through and whether there's actual long-term pain from relationships that are bilateral and long-term friends of the United States. I mean, and if that hurts the friendship, then so be it. I mean, that's the mentality here. And the White House has taken a very pragmatic view on whether these things actually happen. So far, we haven't really seen the follow through. So ultimately, if I'm an automaker, I'm absolutely concerned. And it's not as if the auto sector needed any more headwinds. And if you look at what the SARS data, so the annualized U.S. Car purchase data, if you look at some of the margins, if you look at Ford as a company, even as they have struggled with some of their operations that have been not around the world, but even in this country, there's a lot to be concerned about. Doesn't surprise me that the auto sector over last weekend was lobbying very aggressively. So I think we kind of wait. But again, yesterday was the day when the European reciprocal tariffs were going to come out. You heard 27 EU ministers say something on the tape, and you heard a bunch of German companies. Those are some of the companies I was watching because I own a couple of them, talk about the impact. It doesn't surprise me companies are saying what they're saying.
It's pretty clear the market is looking way past it. You say that, why do you say it? Well, a VIX below 16 is pretty clear to me. S&P 500 all-time highs. That's pretty crystal clear to me. I mean, there seems to be a lack of interest now in just even to talk about tariffs and what they potentially mean for the market. So it's backburnered. To Tim's point, what today I thought was interesting, and you sort of led with it, PPI today was hot by any, and if you'd said to me, again, we play the game last night, it's going to come in much hotter than expected. I said the markets is getting lambasted and yields would go even higher. But apparently some components in the PPI that feed into the PCE were soft. So people are really grasping at straws here. I'll say this again. I do think rates are going higher. I'm shocked at how they performed today, but I think this was just a reprieve.
So I think, to your point, a couple of those things were medical services, looking lighter for our next big inflation reading, as well as airlines ticket prices. So that may be partially what we were talking on our halftime call about what was weighing the airlines beside Hyatt. That might be it. Even that, all that together, though, I'm still surprised at how strong bonds were. As the tariff thing, I mean, I agree if India lowers their tariffs, that's better. But I do think we always talk about the animal spirits and how good that's been for, just companies feeling positive and willing to spend money to grow. And I think this throws a wrench into it. Yeah. If you don't know what your costs are going to be, it's hard to really plan.